All right, gentlemen, back today with another excellent story about a female CEO who wanted to create an all female staff. So she purposely went out there and ignored all of the qualified men who were applying to her company and focused only on the women because she wanted to create an entirely female owned, female staffed company. And she accomplished that. And then she proceeded to go bankrupt. And so we are going to dive into her story tonight because it is very juicy. And she learned firsthand that there is no such thing as a sisterhood. There is no such thing as girl power. And that women are actually out there to sabotage each other. And they cannot work together. And it took her risking all of her savings and her sanity in order to find out a very simple truth that I've been talking about on this channel for the last 10 years. And we are going into our 10th year here on the 33 Secrets. So a little celebration dance, right? We're still going, but I've been talking about this forever. And she could have easily just watched some of my channel and realized like, hey, this guy knows what he's talking about. And even then, you can watch shows like Survivor, men versus women, and you can see that it's the men who are able to work together, and it's the women who are constantly at each other's throats and catfighting and sabotaging and never get anything done. Okay, but this woman had to learn the hard way. So let's crack into her story here. The title starts with Catfights over handbags and tears in the toilets. When this producer launched a woman-only TV company, she thought she'd kissed goodbye to conflict. This is by Samantha Brick. So let's dive into her story here, shall we, gentlemen? Over in one corner sat Alice, a strong-minded, that's code word for bitch, a strong-minded 27-year-old who always said what she thought, of course, regardless of how much it hurt someone else. In the other corner was Sarah, a 30-something high flyer who would stand up for herself momentarily and then burst into tears and run for the ladies' room. Their simmering fight lasted hours, egged on by spectators, taking sides and fueling the anger. Sometimes other girls would join in, either heckling aggressively or huddling defensively in the toilets. It might sound like a scene from a tawdry reality show such as Big Brother, but the truth is, it is a little more prosaic. It was just a normal morning in my office. So this is what it was like coming to work every day in your female-owned utopia. The venomous women were supposedly the talented employees I had headhunted to achieve my utopian dream. A female-only company with happy, harmonious workers benefiting from the absence of men, that evil patriarchy. Oh, that evil patriarchy. Men are holding us back. It's all men's fault. If it wasn't for men, we would be so much further ahead. The world would be such a better place. We'd all be thriving. Those evil men. We're living in a rape culture. If we could just get rid of them. Okay, so she created this female utopia company here. Let's see what happened. How did your experiment go? Samantha Brick. Here she is right here. Her looks like she is a changed person, almost like somebody who just went through some really traumatic event and just came out with some major epiphany. She looks like she just got out of AA or something, like a 12-step program. Samantha Brick, her business was ruined by the destructive jealousy and infighting of an all-female staff. Somehow, I'm sure they'll find a way to blame the patriarchy, right? It was an idealistic vision, swiftly shattered by the nightmare reality. Constant bitchiness, surging hormones, unchecked emotion, attention seeking, and fashion rivalry so fierce it tore my staff apart. When I read the other day that Sienna Miller had said there was no such thing as the sisterhood, I knew what she meant. I can understand why people want to believe that women look out for each other, because with men in power at work and in politics, it makes sense for us to stick together. In fact, there was a time when I believed in the sisterhood, but that was before women at war led me to my emotional and financial ruin, where these chicks cost her everything. 5 years ago, I was working as a TV executive producer, making shows for top channels such as MTV and based in Los Angeles. It sounds like a dream job, and it could have been if I'd been male. Patriarchy, patriarchy. Go create your own woman-owned company with all female staff, and then you won't have to deal with those evil men. Working in TV is notoriously difficult for women. There is a powerful old boys network, robust glass ceiling, and the majority of bosses are misogynistic males. Misogynist. Gradually, what had started out as a daydream, wouldn't it be great? So she was daydreaming and she thought to herself, wouldn't it be great if there were no men where I worked? Turned into an exciting concept. I decided to create the first all-female production company where smart, intelligent, career-oriented women could work harmoniously, free from the bravado of the opposite sex. In hindsight, I should have learned from the lessons of my past. At my mixed secondary school, I was bullied by a gang of nasty name-calling girls. You think that's what these girls, and most of these girls and modern women do. 99% of them will just name call, label you, throw out the ad hominems, personal attacks, basically the very, very childish seventh grade playground tactics, because they don't have the maturity to debate like an adult, right? Look at the very few haters we still get. They're just sad. They're pathetic. I told you guys I was getting hate messages on Christmas from these so-called modern women that are mature, sophisticated. They were throwing out the name calling, the ad hominems, the labeling on Christmas, and trying to send me these hate messages, and thinking that they were winning. It's so sad. It's so pathetic. But it just really makes you lose respect for women, period, right? But I know not all women like that, but the majority are. Okay, I'm going to speak from firsthand experience. The majority are. There is very, very few women out there who are able to debate you rationally, logically, and have an adult conversation with you. And as you know, many of my coaching videos are based on statistics, historical data, facts, mixed in with my own personal experiences. I'm not pulling any theories out of my ass. Okay, this is all experience that I've gained as a professional pickup and dating coach, and as well as doing tons and tons of my own independent research, which I often back. I source my data, where I'm getting it from, who's doing it. So it's often the U.S. government that they love so much, the Census Bureau, Bureau of Statistics. But they don't like that. No, it's your fault, you Mr. Pickup Artist, that I'm sucking at life and I'm 50 and I'm single and living alone with cats. It's your fault, and I'm gonna attack you on Christmas. So sad. These women cannot. They just don't have the intellect for it. They're dumb. They're dumb, right? They're just dumb and immature. And she is finding out the hard way, unfortunately. And she's ruined her career. She's depleted her life savings to find out something that most of us know, but we're not allowed to say, right? Because we'll get shamed, we'll get canceled, and we'll get banned from social media. So let's go on with her story. So she was bullied in school. She was name-called heavily by girls. So she says, I knew only too well how nasty groups of women could be. Sad. She already knew, right? Most women do know too. And most women who bully others have been bullied, and so they repeat the cycle of pain, right? I'm a self-development coach. I minored in psychology, so I mean, none of these chicks and none of these like haters fool me, and it's sad because they think they're fooling me and they're getting this like 2-second dirty high of winning when they take a shot, and it's like I can see beyond that. I can see the pain, the hurt, that's inside of them, and they're really like self projecting that, and I can see the lack of good parenting and the lack of morals and the lack of values. I mean, really, they're just proving my points that I make in all my videos, that they're damaged, right? Because only a damaged female would hate mail some pickup artist on YouTube on Christmas because they're so angry. So she goes on to say, working in television, I'd met lots of super competitive door slammers who'd do anything to get to the top. But I told myself, with the right women, work could be wonderful. So in April of 2005, I left my job, remortgaged my house, freeing up close to $100,000, and began paying myself just $700 a month to set up this utopian all-female woman-owned business. Having worked extremely hard for 12 years, I had lots of experience and a good reputation. What could go wrong, she says. Next paragraph, picking my battles. I hired a team of 7 staff and set up an office in Richmond upon Thames, Surrey. So this is over in the UK. While the women I interviewed claimed to be enthused by the idea of an all-female company, they still insisted on high salaries. Of course, we want those sweet corporate dollars, right? We want high salaries. We want equality, man. Okay, we want equality here. And, we want to close the pay gap. And there's, of course, they're never complaining about the custodial jobs, the dangerous jobs that men take, driving a truck, digging holes in the middle of the street at 4 a.m. in the morning wearing an orange vest. They don't want those jobs, do they? No. They want the cushy office jobs with the high salaries and the corner office. Of course they do. Of course they do. As I always say, these modern women, they want unearned respect, unearned corporate positions, unearned accolades. And then when you don't give it to them, mister, guess what you're going to get? The patriarchy. Oh my God, this place is so sexist. Oh, they're holding back women. Oh, they keep telling me I can't do it. Who keeps telling you can't do it? Men. All these men, they keep coming up to me on the street. They keep telling me I can't do it. The invisible boogeyman. He keeps telling me I can't do it. Oh, the patriarchy. And then they continue to play victim and cry. And instead of actually just putting their value out there, putting their work out there, letting their amazing work speak for itself. No, instead they cry like babies and demand, give it to me. You just give it to me. Otherwise, we're going to cancel you and shut you down. You misogynist, sexist pig. Ooh, this is no wonder we have a pay gap. Cry me a river. Just put out good work, male or female, and you will reap the rewards. Okay? All you have to do, if you spent less time bitching and more time putting in the work, you would see that you would get much further in life. So, she goes on to say that these women wanted high salaries for these, thinking that they're going to help her create her utopian dream of an all-woman company. They still insisted on high salaries. And I can guarantee, bet your ass, man, a lot of these women were not deserving of those high salaries. Just give it to me. Fair enough, I thought at the time. They are professionals, and I knew most of them were talented and conscientious because I'd worked with them before. Yeah, they're talented and conscientious because they're surrounded by male managers who kept everybody's ass in line. But now that you're here, sister, woo, party time. But within a week of hiring them, 2 cliques had developed very quickly. Those who had worked together before and those who were producing new ideas. Most days would bring a pointed moment when Some people were invited out for lunch or a coffee break, and some were not. Oh my goodness! How dare you not be inclusive? Are you saying that women are exclusive and they're not inclusive? Oh my goodness, stop the presses. Yeah, there's your inclusivity. I mean, most of these modern women, guys, are complete hypocrites. Okay? I mean, and they could sit there, Jada Pinkett style, right? And just bold face talk to you as if they're right, like they're making some logical argument. When if you just, get beyond their hyperbole and their exaggerations, um, you can see that they are really, really full of their own horse manure, man, and they are not taking a good sniff of what they're shoveling. So it says here that these women were already not being very inclusive, and I've said that too. I've said that in some of my posts that I don't make public, that women are often the most um, racist. They make the most racist comments. They're the most violent. They're the most verbally abusive for sure, right? And they're the most exclusive. And really, they are the most homophobic too. I mean, you should see some of the hate comments I've gotten, guys. I mean, I've been called everything, and I've gotten like some of these death threats too that I've gotten from some of these like very angry women. It's just we have them all too, and we keep all of those. We report all of those, and the ones where they send them to, like IG, for example, they have their IP addresses. So believe me, if anything ever happens to the kid, they will all be brought into the FBI and questioned about why you sent this guy something and why is he now missing, right? So you're not going to get away with that. You're not going to get away. Moving on. It says, so these chicks were not being inclusive, and nothing explicit was ever said. The cutting rejection was obvious enough. Even when we all went to the pub after work, strict divisions remained, made clear according to who sat where around the table and who would be civil or not to whom. Sounds like very manipulative behavior. Fashion was a great divider. Of course, women don't go to work, just like they never went to school for school. They went to school for a fashion show, not to learn. Now they're in the adults in the labor force. They're not going to work. They're going there to show off their latest blouse, their latest purse, their latest jewelry. So yeah, hideously stereotypical. Oh, okay. Fashion was a great divider, though in this battlefield, everyone was on their own. Hideously stereotypical and shallow as it sounds, clothes were a huge source of catty comments. From sly remarks about people looking overdressed to the merits of their fake tan application. I always felt sorry for anyone who naively showed off a new purchase in the office, because everyone would coo appreciatively to their face, then harshly criticize them as soon as they were out of earshot. This happened without exception. So as soon as your bestie that you work with, your girlfriend, do anything for each other, as soon as you were, she was behind your back, that's when she would start talking smack about you, because this is female behavior at its finest. There is no sisterhood, as this chick had to learn the hard way, and girls don't have each other's back, and they are willing to sabotage each other, pull the rug out from underneath each other, and this is demonstrated in I mean, again, like you could watch Survivor, men versus women, and you will see it for yourself. They are not working together, man. It's every man for himself. But you see the men, regardless of their differences, they find a way to work together to work towards a common goal. Oh, that evil patriarchy. So it says here, my deputy, Sarah, the general manager, first showed how much style mattered when she advertised for an office assistant and refused to hire the best qualified girl because she could not distinguish Missoni from Marc Jacobs. This girl would have been making tea and running errands, but I didn't challenge the decision not to hire her because I had a policy of picking my battles carefully. The office was like a Milan catwalk. I mean, this is supposed to be a business. This is supposed to be her entrepreneurial endeavor. And these chicks are not coming to help her fulfill her dream, much less even earn their paychecks. They're just coming to work to show off their handbags, show off their new dresses, show off their new jewelry. Um, this is just pathetic behavior. And this is why, I mean, the more you dive into this, um, like red pill knowledge, whatever you want to call it, just the hardcore reality of female nature, you don't gain more respect for women, you lose more respect for women. And it's really the opposite for women who get into the red pill stuff, as long as they're logical about it. They don't lose respect for men the more they learn about this stuff. They actually gain more respect for men because they realize how good they have it as women and how hard men work to really create the environment and the conveniences and the technological advancements that we are enjoying today as a civilization. Everybody benefits, right? But these chicks, these are the type of chicks who are like, oh, we need to get rid of all men so we can rule the world. Can you imagine if we, like, men just were able to abandon the planet for even for a week? All the food resources, all of the agriculture, all of the farming, um, petrol, everything would be depleted. We would come back and the place would be an absolute mess. It's like having an irresponsible, like leaving an irresponsible child in your home where everything is tidy and everything is placed where it's supposed to be and, you know, it's freshly cleaned, and then you coming back and it's a complete pigsty. That's how the world would look if men exited for even a week. I guarantee. I'm not saying this, to to rah rah patriarchy. I'm just saying this because it's true, right? It's reality. And this chick is saying it for herself. She's saying here, like, what is going on even in her tiny business here, right? Her small business that she launched with 100 grand. Her office was like a Milan catwalk. But with the competitiveness of a Miss World contest and the low cunning of a mud wrestling bout, a fashion spat ended one friendship when Sarah and our young development researcher received the same surprise Christmas gift, a Chloe Paddington bag worth $900. When they clocked the matching bags in the office, it was like pistols at dawn. They forced a few compliments, but relations never recovered at the expense of my company. So these two chicks were arguing because they got the same surprise Christmas gift, which was a handbag, and they made themselves the center of attention and forget her company, forget their jobs, forget adding value to people's lives and creating this amazing product. No, forget all that. Let's make it about us and our handbags, and I want to get all the attention for myself. Narcissistic behavior at its finest, as most, unfortunately, most modern women are because they've been raised to be narcissistic. We've okayed that as a society, right? All of the simp politicians out there who, like, especially the one we have in the clown we have in office now, is like rah rah women, right? And any others like him, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, that cheerlead this type of narcissistic behavior for little girls to become narcissists. Here you are. You're seeing the results of this, right? Another time when two members of staff bought the same jeans, one proclaimed, "They look better on me because I'm a size 8 and she's a 10." It didn't take long for the office to become divided between the girls who wore makeup and those who didn't. Comments from the former were typically, "Does she know what spot cover-up is?" Or, "Has she ever met a hairbrush?" While the no makeup clan were equally biting with comments behind their backs, naturally, such as people on the morning bus must think she's a prostitute or she looks like a slapper. Yeah, so much for the sisterhood, right? So much for girls empowering other girls, women empowering women. All those hashtags on International Women's Day. When I see women like hashtagging each other on that, I'm like, you bitches all hate each other. Who are you fooling? You guys all hate each other. You guys cannot work together. You guys would you guys would stab each other in the back like that over a compliment, over some validation, over the color of your latest outfit. So I kind of slid past Sienna Miller's photo here, but that's Sienna Miller here, and I think she discovered being an actress in Hollywood that life ain't always so easy. So it says Sienna Miller recently said the sisterhood does not exist after she experienced bitchy comments from other women, and I'm sure she's gotten more than that because, especially back in the day, I actually thought Sienna Miller was really attractive when she was younger, and I only saw one movie with her in it, but I was like, yeah, this chick's pretty hot. So at least being my type, right? Might not be your type, but she's definitely. I can definitely see where she would make other women jealous, to say the least. So let's go on with her story. The obsession with appearance meant nearly all the staff were on diets. If I bought a tuna mayonnaise baguette for lunch, I would overhear staff commenting that I was a pig. I'm a size 12. Two of the skinny girls often snidely said about the largest girl, I'd kill myself if I got that fat. One of the assistants got her own back on the food police for several weeks by pretending to buy them fat-free lattes, which were really full-fat lattes. Oh my god, this is like Mean Girls, man. This is like the movie Mean Girls, where I think one of the girls did that to the other one. But that is hilarious. Oh my goodness. Employees considered it acceptable to take time off for beauty treatments and not out of their holiday allowance. Of course not. I'll take it out of my holiday allowance. Uh, I want to make as much as men do. I want to make as much as men do. I want to close the pay gap. I gotta go go get my beauty treatments, but don't take it out of my allowance, right? We gotta close the pay gap. One girl regularly came in late because she was getting her hair colored, and when I mentioned this, she blew up in outrage. Though at least she had a reason. Most just turned up late regardless and huffed. That's the time my train gets in if I pointed at the clock. In hindsight, yeah, God forbid you ask your employees to get up just a bit earlier so they show up on time. In hindsight, I can see I should have been more strict, and this is a problem with a lot of women. Is they don't know how to balance the strictness. They don't know how to like really just calibrate that. It's either they go too far in one direction or go too far in the other. Either they're really strict to the point where nobody likes them, or they're not strict enough to the point where nobody respects them. And usually there's this fine balance in the middle. I mean, I do that with my own employees. There's always a fine balance. It's like, hey, if you're late, you better have a good excuse, right? I don't have a physical office where people come in. We have a virtual office, and we use a software to track what time they're clocking in, how much they're working. We could also see their computer screens to make sure they're not like playing Call of Duty or something all day or watching YouTube. We make sure they're getting their work done. I have managers who handle that, but also there's some give and take, right? Sometimes, a lot of my employees, they have kids. Oh, my kid has a dental appointment today, or my kid has, he has a thing at school or a PTA meeting, and I have to be at that, but I'll get back and finish my work at this time. Usually we're pretty like, oh, okay, just as long as you get your work done. That's really the bottom line, right? But a lot of these female managers and female entrepreneurs, they get so hung up on like, oh my gosh, you are 2 minutes late. That's disrespecting me. That's disrespecting my company. And how dare you, you awful person, you. They don't know like when to chill and when not to chill, right? It's just, you got to have that fine balance. But that's what happens when you're just too emotional. You have too much estrogen pumping through your veins. It's fine. I'm not taking shots at them for that, but that's just what I see play out, right? I have an entrepreneurs group too in Santa Monica. We have, almost close to 2,000 members now. So I see it play out all the time with my female members of my group who have businesses. So she's saying here, my idealism was my downfall because I tried to see the best in people. I was convinced they would behave as they were treated, so I treated everyone kindly. And this is where she needs some red pill advice, right? This is where she thought that if she treated women kindly, that they would treat her kindly. And regardless, even for her being a woman, they are going to take advantage of that, right? When women see you treating them kindly and just being a little too welcoming, they don't see that as kindness. They see that as weakness, okay? They don't see your kindness as strength. They see it as cowardness almost. So they will take advantage of it. They will take advantage of it. This is why you have to lay down the law, and you have to be strict. But again, right? Flexible, right? Strict but flexible, depending on what the circumstances are. Because we all have, life circumstances. You have to be understanding, but strict. I mean, obviously, if the person keeps doing it and taking advantage of you and using the same excuse and they're lying, that's when you have to lay down the law and be like, yeah, you need to go if you do this again, and goodbye. So she's talking about here, snide comments. If I'd been more cynical, I would have been more successful. I was often trying to win contracts, but back at the office, work was an afterthought. It came second to conversations about shopping, boyfriends, and diets. Oh, and spiteful comments from my 2 development researchers who were sharpening their acrylic nails against another staff member, Natasha. 6 months after the company's inception, tensions spilled over when one of the researchers took Natasha's laptop and refused to return it. That day, I was forced to cancel my meetings and return to the office to patch up relations. This chick had to cancel her meetings to go back and patch up a fuss, a childish conflict between 2 grown adult women. That is unacceptable. That is unacceptable. And that is something that, had there been a man there, a strong man, not a simping man, not a pussy ass man, but a strong manager, a strong leader would have said, hey, enough, right? If I was the boss of this place, I'd be like, enough. This happens again, you're done. Period. That's it. Though Sarah, my general manager, was present, she refused to get involved because she didn't want to be the bad cop. There you go. There you go. Like, more women are more concerned about how they appear and how other people perceive them rather than doing the right thing, right? Whereas men, at least a strong man, not a simping man, not a pussy man, but a strong man, will not care regardless how others feel about him. He will just try to do what he feels is right, and people will just naturally respect him for that. They might not like him for it, right? Because he makes them feel bad, or he pushes their buttons the wrong way, or is not tactful enough. But they will respect him, And in the end, respect is more important than being liked, especially at work. Despite being in charge, she was scared at the prospect of being bitched out. It was as though in a women-only environment, staff were unable to keep their defined roles. Soon, arguments became a daily occurrence. It would start with snide comments between 2 people, then as others joined in, emotion and anger would grow until an eruption, shouting, screaming, swearing, which always left someone in tears. How many times have you seen women cry at the office, guys? You guys who've worked in office or even outside the office, how many times have you seen women cry in the workplace? I remember when I worked in corporate America, man. I seen a number of women just cry under their desks. Just cry because of the pressure, because of the deadlines we had to meet, or because she had a spat with some other chick in the office. It was never with a guy. It was usually with some other chick, right? And they have a spat, and she's like crying at her desk, or had to go home early because of it. And it's like, and so it drives me nuts when I hear these feminists talk about the wage gap, and they don't, they never talk about how women take off early. They don't work overtime. They take more time off. They you know, they take maternity leave and all these other things that are really their own choice, right? I mean, they're voluntarily choosing to have a child, or they're voluntarily choosing to get involved in other activities that are going to distract them from work. Whereas most guys don't do that. We're just out there to make as much money as we can because we know nobody's going to take care of us. Big Daddy government is not going to give us a paycheck. It's not going to shelter us. We know that. We know that we're going to be homeless if we don't pound the pavement now while we still can, while we're still young. So these chicks, they constantly have they constantly have a backup plan. So, and that's usually Big Daddy government. That's why so many of these women vote left and they vote for Democrat politicians who will basically create all of these programs and tax people, the working people, usually men. Oh, the patriarchy. The patriarchy is paying for a lot of these basically deadbeat women who don't want to work. Or don't have a savings after they're done with their work because they splurged it on all their vacations, their jewelry, their Louis Vuitton purses, and their Jimmy Choo shoes. Who pays for that? Patriarchy. So, I mean, this is just rich. This whole article, her whole experience is just so rich. It's sadly hilarious. So she goes on to say, then the friends of the woman who was upset would follow her to console her, leaving one group in the office and another group in the ladies' room. It's like a reality TV show. Both would then bitch unreservedly about each other and do absolutely no work, which is what they're paid to be there at work, to do work, and they're not even doing that. It reached the point that I even wrote a handbook for staff on how to be nice to each other. She had to write a handbook. I mean, she should be marketing her business. She should be out there shaking hands, networking, growing her business. But no, she can't do any of that stuff. She's got her hands tied because she has to play mediator every time one of these chicks gets into some kind of catfight with another chick at the office. It reached the point, okay, so she wrote a handbook. The advice centered on being respectful to everyone and treating people equally. Taking phone messages properly, whether the call was for me or a junior. You mean professionally? I also said there would be no more criticizing or whispering in the office. But although when people read it, they said they loved the idea, but it made no difference. Of course, because it sounds good on paper, and these women are like, oh my gosh, yes, yes, yes. Just like clapping seals on The View or clapping seals on any female talk show. Oh, yes, yes, yes. But they don't follow through with any of it. It's just like women who are like, oh yeah, we need to stop all the online bullying. And then these chicks proceed to go out and online bully anyone who disagrees with them. Right? So the hypocrisy is real, guys. The hypocrisy is real. And like I said, this is why a lot of guys who enter this red pill space, they don't gain more respect for women. They lose more respect for women. Right? And it's not the guy's fault. It's not misogyny. It's not the patriarchy. It's because the guys witness female behavior at its finest. That's why. Many of the women were aggressive or defensive, or both. The most aggressive masked a host of insecurities with their outgoing nature, while the defensive ones opened up only when provoked. The worst type I encountered, however, was the passive-aggressive type. She doesn't seem mean, but is the worst of the pack, ruthlessly bringing you down in such a sweet and unassuming manner that you don't realize what she's done until long after the event. Yeah, passive-aggressive types are the absolute worst. Broken hearts. There's another type in her office. She conceals her bitchy words in flowery phrases. One of my staff told another sweetly, I don't mean to be a bitch, but I just can't bear to be in the same room and breathe the same air as you right now, you bitch. But the biggest force wasn't her personality type. It was hormones. When one woman started having IVF, she unleashed her rage without warning and without apology. At that time of the month, which in an office staffed only by women, meant someone was always at that point, meaning somebody was always on their period. In an that all-woman office utopia. Oh my gosh, every day somebody else is on their period. Any bad mood was swiftly passed on to the rest of the team as if by osmosis. So when one woman was on her period, guess what? Every woman in that office had to experience what that's like. Ooh. So much for the matriarchy. Hormones came second as an excuse for absence and bad temper, only to love life problems. When one woman split up with her boyfriend, I was told in no uncertain terms by her that I must be super understanding and sensitive towards her at work. In an email she sent me, a true drama queen, her tears went on for a whole week. Her employee that she's paid came to work and cried for an entire week after sending her an email telling her boss that she needs to be super understanding and super sensitive towards her. The level of entitlement is real, guys, and I'm just glad that this woman is getting to experience it firsthand, as it was her idea to create this all-female staffed company. Naturally, her enemies in the office delighted in her broken heart. They loved it. What I tell you guys about women being vicious, man. No empathy, dude. No empathy. These women loved it. Talk about just being evil. Another girl juggling two relationships at once frequently primed everyone in the office about what to say to whom whenever either of the men called the office. So she's bringing her drama to work. Another woman had a voracious sexual appetite and in a female-only environment saw nothing wrong with screeching across the open plan room details of her marathon sex sessions. I received frequent complaints about her crude language. Oh, but I thought it's only men with that locker room talk. It's only men talking about, grab people's vaginas and all. No, women don't do that. No, we're perfect angels. I can still remember the name of all of my staff's partners and their affairs because it interfered with our work so often. Why are you even allowing this to happen as the boss? You need to nip that in the bud the moment it happens, the moment it becomes a problem. That should not be going on in the office. That is ridiculous. That's unprofessional. And as an entrepreneur and business owner myself of multiple businesses and dozens of employees internationally, I do not put up with that type of malarkey, man. I'm very cutthroat when it comes to that. You do that crap, you waste my business's time and my other employees, you're done. You're out, right? We don't deal with that. We don't have time for it. I can still remember the name of all my staff's partners. Okay. Professionally, however, the company was somehow thriving, probably because you had a great idea. It was somehow thriving. We secured 2 program commissions, one with ITV and a series with Living TV. So I could afford new offices in West London. Great. But imagine how much more it would have been thriving if you had a staff who wasn't so entitled and full of themselves. But this brought another explosion from Sarah when she paid out for a parking permit while another girl was given a free parking space by the building's landlord. During a massive row, Sarah said the girl had overstepped her rank while the girl told her it was just tough. Tough cookies, baby. Girl boss, girl boss. Oh, women supporting women. Hashtag International Women's Day. The sisterhood. Oh, you're my bestie. Yeah, tough cookies. That's what she told her. They never spoke again. The effect, you'll love this, guys. The effect a lack of testosterone was having in our office was even more apparent when I temporarily hired 2 male directors to work on a series. Camera operators are usually men because of the heavy equipment. So she only hired these guys because you don't find many women, female camera operators out there because they don't want to do these jobs. It requires heavy lifting. Women don't want those jobs, guys. They want the safe, cushy office job where they could brag to all their girlfriends about it and they could dress nicely in the latest fashions. You can't be dressing in high heel shoes and the latest fashions operating a camera and carrying around all that equipment. So she hires 2 male guys, camera operators. The team suddenly became quieter. Ooh, really? More hardworking and less bitchy. Imagine that. Partly because they were too busy flirting. 2 girls openly went after one director, even though he had a live-in girlfriend. His partner didn't stand a chance against their relentless flirting and was dumped when one of them won his affections. So one of the girls who threw herself at him, he dumped his girlfriend. When we had meetings with men, staff turned ferocious, each out to prove that they were the sexiest in the room. What I tell you guys, they want that validation. And here's the thing, the second you simp-ass suckers give it to them, you're done. You're out. Okay, they're on to the next willing victim who will play into their hand. And as long as you don't give it to them, guess what? You're going to be the man. You're going to be the alpha. You're going to be that Chad that they want. With a male commissioner at Channel 4, one employee said, "Watch this." What's this? And then stuck her hand down her bra and tweaked her nipples. The man and I were speechless. In this climate, I didn't dare employ any men because of the distraction and, even worse, catfights they created. I hate how much that sounds like stereotyping, but I'm afraid it's what I found to be true. And while I stand by my initial reason for excluding male employees, which is very sexist, by the way, and that is actually illegal, because they have an easy ride in TV. If I were to do it again, I would definitely employ men. In fact, I'd probably employ only men. Did you hear what this former feminist had to say with her woman-owned TV company now that she's had an all-female staff? She said, if I were to do it again, highlight this, if I were to do it again, based on her experience, if I were to do it again, I'd definitely employ men. In fact, I would probably employ only men. And you know what? If she did that, she would be a very wealthy lady today, because it sounds like she had a great idea that was thriving regardless of the chaos and drama that was going on in her office. Her business would have thrived, and with the right staff members behind it, they would have rode this thing home into victory, right? Would have rode it home into victory. Making close to $500,000 in our first year should have meant profit, but this was wiped out by high salaries and accounting errors by my all-female staff. Then, when we began having cash flowing problems, Sarah signed herself off sick with stress for a month. So I'm assuming Sarah was her accountant. So when they started to have cash flow problems, they didn't sit there and hashtag sisterhood, hashtag women supporting women. No, they basically abandoned each other. So Sarah signed off herself sick with stress for a whole month, leaving you to figure out for yourself, and you're probably not an accountant. So now you got to go out and hire another accountant. And my advice would be to find a male accountant. She also confessed she had been dodging calls from people who were due payment, thus ruining my firm's reputation. Of course she's dodging those calls, because she probably dodges it from her own visa bill, like many women do, right? They're just financially irresponsible like that. I mean, the statistics, again, will back me up on this. So no need to send me more hate mails on Christmas, ladies. Research the statistics, and then you can hate message all of those researchers on Christmas and tell them how awful they are and how you despise their families. Okay? By then, I was back and forth on a plane between Britain and the US, dealing with a fractious staff in London and barmy LA producers. My general manager was nowhere to be found, bills hadn't been paid, and the tension in the office was palpable. To pump extra cash into my business, I sold both of my cars, but it was already too late. I went bankrupt in March 2007, less than 2 years after I'd formed my company that was at one point thriving. Though I will not absolve myself of all guilt, I believe the business was ruined by the destructive jealousy and infighting of an all-female staff. No, the patriarchy. It was men. Men somehow, the patriarchy, oppressing us and sexism and misogyny. Oh, no. Hashtag women supporting women. Oh, so, no, International Women's Day. My ass. Their selfishness and insecurities led to my company's demise. No truer words have ever been spoken. When I needed the so-called sisterhood to believe in me, it just wasn't there. And with that said, that wraps up her story. And it's a sad story. It's an unfortunate story. She sounds like she had a great idea, and she could have taken this business home, could have become a very wealthy woman. And instead, she was her own worst enemy because she didn't hire the best candidates. Instead, she just wanted to hire an all-female staff. She wanted to set a quota, 100% females. And it's no different than what you see going on today with many companies and government involvement in corporate America, enacting all these laws and forcing these companies to create quotas not only for women, but certain ethnicities, certain genders, certain different concoctions of genders and all this. And it's like, why can't you just leave these companies alone and let them focus on hiring the best and most qualified candidates, male or female, right? You shouldn't be looking at color. You shouldn't be looking at gender, because those are the people who are the real sexists, the real misogynists and misandrists are the ones that are constantly looking at the person's exterior versus their interior. They're constantly looking at their skin color and gender versus what they've actually accomplished and what they can bring to the table. That's how you build a successful, thriving business. And this is why I refuse to hire here. I mean, all my employees are international, and I use an app to track all of them. I have managers; they're all international. I don't have to deal with the red tape of hiring employees here and having quotas stuck on me and all this. I get to hire the best employees in the world. That's why my business continues to thrive. I don't have to hire a woman just because I'm being, my arms being twisted to do so. I hire the best employees possible to create the best products possible and the best customer service experience possible. But her, like many of the woke crowd these days, are all about, no, have to hire 20 women, 5 transgenders, 4 homosexuals, 3 lesbians. It's like, are they even qualified? No, it doesn't. You sexist. Wait, what are you talking about? No, dude, I'm hiring the most qualified people. All right, go piss up a rope with that woke malarkey. Right, but here's living proof of a woman who hired an all-female staff and risked her life savings to create this female utopia, and now she's bankrupt and probably can't get a loan again because she went bankrupt. She's ruined her credibility, not only with creditors, but people that she could have potentially networked with, ruined her career in this space because now nobody trusts her to get anything done. It's like, look what you did with your own business. Why should I do business with you? I don't want to do business with a loser, right? I'm just thankful she didn't have shareholders or investors because, and as an investor now myself, I look for companies that I can invest in. And the first thing I peer into is their management, right? I look at their management and they're like, if they have a board of directors and all that other stuff, and I look at their mission and all that, and if I see any woke language in there, if I see any like, oh, we're a diverse, multicultural, blah, 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 and that's what the focus is, and it's not on the product, I'm out. I ain't investing in that, right? I don't need to feel like, I don't need to go virtue signal. I mean, I'm there to invest and make some money. I mean, this is investment for me. It's not, I'm not there to increase my smugness. I'm there to make money, and that's the bottom line, right? You want to be diverse and hire people based on their skin color and gender, you go do that, but you're not going to get me as an investor, and I don't think your business is going to thrive, and I think you're doing a lot of injustice to the people who spend money with your company. I don't spend money with companies like that because I know I'm getting a subpar product because they're not hiring the best people. So I'm not going to pay good money to have a product that was created by a subpar staff. I want the best of the best creating the things that I pay for, and as much as possible, right? I do not want to be part or support any of this wokeness because at the end of the day, it's evil, right? Because you're ignoring people who are qualified for the position and clearly talented and worked hard and to get to where they are, but they're being neglected and rejected because of they weren't born with the right skin color, or they weren't born with the right gender. And I don't want to be part of that because that's just reverse racism. That's just reverse sexism, really, right? But as always, guys, drop your comments below. Let me know what you think of her story here and the fact that this female entrepreneur created a woman-owned company, all female staff, only to ruin herself, ruin her career, go bankrupt, deplete all of her savings. Let me know what you think of her story and any experiences you've had working with female employees or having a female boss. Drop those comments below. But I mean, the studies are out there before anybody tries to like, oh, shit, you're misogynist. No, the studies are out there that are even being done by other women. Why women don't want to work for women. Here's one from Her Money. Why women don't want a female boss. Here's one from The Atlantic. This is like a big time leftist site. Why don't more women want to work with other women? Hey, why don't you read Samantha's story over here? And maybe you'll see why. Okay, here's one from Forbes. Why women don't always support other women? Yeah, sure, they'll hashtag that, right? But will they actually follow through with it? No, they'll hashtag it because it looks good on paper. They'll put it on their Instagram stories because other people will go, oh my goodness, he's supporting women. But really, the only people out there supporting women is really men. That's who's really kicking the doors open for these women to get these positions, these opportunities in corporate America. I mean, even in entertainment, a lot of these famous pop stars and celebrities and actresses, they had the doors really kicked open by men, right? And I made the comment in a previous coaching video about a lot of these pop star singers, like you got Katy Perry, Taylor Swift, Adele. They don't even write their own songs, right? They always have like a co-writer on all of their songs. It's never just their own name. That's how you can tell they don't write their own songs, by the way. Little trick as a former rock band rock band singer here. You can tell if somebody writes their own songs because there will be no co-writer, right? But with a lot of these pop stars, they want to make you believe that they're writing their own songs. But when you go to Google it, you'll see that there's always a co-writer on their song listed with their name. That basically means that that person wrote the song and they're just adding their name there for marketing purposes. But and usually almost 99.9% of the time, the co-writer is a man. Patriarchy, it's a man who's writing the songs for them. Right? But if you look at some of these like grunge bands from the 90s, for example, who were very independent and didn't like labels, these guys all wrote their own songs. And I mentioned Billy Corgan, lead singer of Smashing Pumpkins, who I really used to like back in the day. Billy Corgan's very red pill, by the way. Even though his songs are kind of sound blue pill, he's very red pill. So he, if you look like on his lists of songs, his most popular songs, all of his songs practically, he wrote all of them. And he's the only one listed when it says, you go, hey, who wrote the song today? Who wrote the song 1979 by Smashing Pumpkins? Who wrote Cherub Rock by Smashing Pumpkins? Let's say Billy Corgan. There's no co-writer. Why? Because nobody helped him. He wrote the song by himself. Where you look at like Taylor Swift, Katy Perry, or any of these other pop stars, Adele, you see that there's always a co-writer. There's somebody helping them. Even Madonna, right? Always somebody there helping them. Always a male. It says co-written by. Basically, he wrote that song. And he's like, here, go ahead and read this. What do you think? Yeah, sounds good. Okay, boom. You think like Adele or any of these chicks actually sit there like, right? No, they don't have the intellect to do it. And I'm saying that because otherwise they would write these songs on their own, and there would be no co-writer, right? And that's just based on my own like basic research on that. But in any case, guys, like I said, drop your comments below and make sure that you smash the like button, hit the notification bell right next to it as well, and also subscribe to the 33 Secrets. Okay? And for you guys who want to support my work and everything I'm teaching you guys even further, the best way to do that, jump into 7 Months of Mastery below. I will teach you how to go out there and pick up, attract, and close the hottest, youngest, most beautiful looking girls on the planet. I'm talking about 8s, 9s, and 10s, the cream of the crop out there, right? Teach you how to do that. I'm one of the best pickup artists in the world, one of the top 10 pickup artists in the world, one of the longest, oldest standing pickup artists in the world now. Been around for a long, long time. So I have a lot of things, a lot of experience, and a lot of knowledge that I would like to share with you in 7 Months of Mastery. Priceless knowledge. And right now it's only $1 for the entire first month of coaching lessons from me. So take advantage of it. This is the absolute best way to support my work, guys. And all you need to do is click the link below in my description box. It will take you over to my website where you can get signed up right now. It just takes 2 seconds. So do that now. And I will see you in my next coaching video. I'm out.